So looking at number 1, what is negative 9 to the power of 0? 1. Awesome. Anything to the power of 0 is 1. Number 2, what do I have to do first here? The exponent. Remember PEMDAS. Oops. There we go. Parentheses exponent. You got to do the exponent before you multiply. So what is 2 to the third power? 2 times 2 times 2 would be what? 8. And what's 8 times 9? 72. Awesome. So have to do the exponent first there. Looking at number 3, I have 3 to the 4th power squared. What should I do first here? The exponents. What do I do to the exponents? Multiply. When you have a power raised to a power, we multiply. So this would be 3 to the 8th power. If you had big numbers like this, you don't have to evaluate, but on the quiz, there'll probably be smaller numbers where you may have to evaluate. So something like 4 to the 3rd power. Just multiply it out. 4 times 4 times 4. All right. Simplify. How can I simplify x to the 6th power times x to the 5th power? Add the exponents. This would be x to the 11th power. Bless you. All right. Number 5 looks a little bit more tricky. What do I need to do first? Distribute. So I want to distribute my exponent to everything inside the parentheses that it's touching. So I have negative 2 to the power of negative 2, x to the 10th power to the power of negative 2, and y to the 3rd power to the power of negative 2. And then everything before that stays the same. Anything else? What should I do next? How? All right, so when I have a power raised to power, I can multiply them. Let's do one step at a time. So I have 3x squared, y to the 4th power, negative 2 to the negative 2 power, x to the power of negative 20, and y to the power of negative 6. Anything with a negative exponent, I want to put it on the bottom. So I'm going to leave everything with the positive exponent on top. So all of these would stay on top. 3x squared y to the 4th power. But then all of these with the negative exponent are going to go to the bottom. Yes?
On the quiz you test, are you going to like mark it all wrong if you don't like put it like in the order, like if they're like...
What can I do next here? Negative 2 to the 2nd power. We have to do the exponent here first. So 3x squared y to the 4th power over, this would, what's negative 2 squared? 4. Because it's negative 2 times negative 2, which would be positive 4. X to the 20th power, y to the 6th power. What can I do next? Subtract the exponent. So since I'm dividing, I subtract. Remember, it's always top minus bottom. So it'd be 2 minus 20 and 4 minus 6. So my coefficients out front stay the same, the 3/4. What is 2 minus 20? Negative 18. And what is 4 minus 6? Negative 2. We don't like negative exponents in our answer, so what can I do with those? Put them both on the bottom and make them positive. So what stays on the top? 3. And then what's going to go on the bottom? X to the 18's y squared, but what else? 4. So that 4 was already on the bottom, so we just leave it on the bottom and move the x and y to the bottom. Simplify the exponential expression. What can I do first? Awesome. I can add the exponents, so I'll combine the x's together. So that would be x to the 6th power. I can combine the y's together. What's the exponent on that first y? 1. So it would be y to the 6th power, because 1 plus 5. And then what else do I need to do? Do what to the coefficients? Multiply them. So -2 times -5 would be 10. All right, 7. What should I do first? I could either flip them or distribute. Either way works. I'm going to distribute first. So I have x to the power of -1 to the power of -2 and y to the power of 5 to the power of -2. What can I do next? Multiply the exponents. When you have a power raised to a power, we multiply. So this would be x squared and y to the power of -10. Now what can I do? Which one? Move the y down because it has a negative exponent. And we don't want negative exponents in our answer. So I have x squared on top, y to the 10th power on the bottom. All right, let's look at these. Evaluate -5 to the 3rd power. So this is like saying -5 times -5 times -5. Is my answer going to be positive or negative? Negative. Because a negative times a negative will be positive, but then we're multiplying it by another negative. And what is 5 times 5 times 5? 125. If you didn't know that right off the bat, you know that 5 times 5 is 25, and then just multiply it by another 5. So work it out. Don't be afraid to work it out. 5 times 5 would be 25. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 would be 12. So 125. So once you get to the bigger numbers, don't be afraid to work it out. Number 9, what's x to the 5th power times x to the 6th power? X to the 11th. We add the exponents. Bless you. For 10, how do I solve 10? Add the exponent. So it's -9 plus 5. X to the power of -4. We don't like negative exponents in our answer, so what do I have to do? Perfect. 1 over x to the power of 4. 11. This was a question from the Kahoot yesterday that a lot of people got wrong. 3 to the power of -2. What should I do first? Flip it. Perfect. We would like positive exponents, so 3 squared would go on the bottom, 1 over 3 squared. And then how can I simplify? It turns into 1 over 9 because 3 squared is 9. So you have to flip it before you evaluate because we can't, you don't want to do 3 squared and then forget about the negative. And it doesn't make our answer negative. A negative exponent just flips it into a fraction. Any questions there? All right, number 12. How can I simplify? Awesome. Y to the 6th power. We add the exponents, and the exponent on our first y would be 1. So y to the 6th power. Do you guys have any questions from this page? Let's look at 13. How can I simplify? Subtract. When you're dividing, you want to subtract the exponent. So 10 minus 4? X to the 6th power. For 14, how do I simplify? Awesome. Y to the power of 0 is 1. So what's x to the 4th power times 1? Just x to the 4th power. So notice how not the whole thing is 1, just the part with the exponent of 0. Just that y turns into 1. All right, simplify the exponential expressions and write with positive exponents. How do I simplify? Add the exponents. So what's negative 5 plus 2? We don't like negative exponents, so put it on the bottom. What goes on the top? 1 over x to the third power. Perfect. All right, 16. What do I need to do here? We could flip them. So y goes on top, x goes on the bottom. So this would be y to the 8th power over x to the 8th power. Can I simplify this anymore? Nope. Since one's an x and one's y, you can't combine them anymore. All right, let's look at 17. What can I do first for 17? I can do that. Negative 24 divided by 4 would be what? Negative 6. Is that on top or on the bottom? On the top. Because just think about it. We're dividing both of these by 4, so it'd be like 6 over 1. Now what do I do with the x's? Subtract the exponents. So 9 minus 6 is what? So x to the third power. And then what do I do with the y's? Subtract them. So it'd be 11 minus 4. What's 11 minus 4? So y to the 7th power. I don't have anything on the bottom, so I can erase my division sign there. So it's just negative 6, x to the third power, y to the 7th power. What should I do first for 18? Multiply the exponents. No, multiply what? The numbers. That's what you meant, right? So negative 5 times 2 would be negative 10. What do I do to the exponents here? Add the exponents. So that would be x to the 5th power. All right, number 19. What should I do first? So negative 8 times negative 5 would be what? 40. Perfect. Bless you. What do I do to the x's? Add the exponents. So x to the 5th power times x to the 3rd power would be 8. And what do I do with the y's? Add the exponent. So it would be y to what power? Y to the 3rd power. All right, 20. What should I do first to simplify? What's 28 divided by 7? 4. Next, let's look at the x's. How would I simplify the x's? Subtract. So 21 minus 20 would be what? 1. Do I have to write the 1 there? Nope. So it's just x. Next, let's look at the y's. How do I simplify the y's? Subtract. Be careful when subtracting here because it's 13 minus negative 10. What do I do when I subtract a negative? Add. So it's 13 plus 10. 23. Do I have anything left on the bottom? No. So it's just 4x times y to the power of 23. What should I do first for 21? Do what with the exponents? Am I just multiplying it here? I want to distribute it first so I don't forget about that 7. So it'll be 7 to the power of negative 2. And then x to the 6th power to the power of negative 2. Next, I can multiply the exponents. So just don't forget to distribute that negative 2 to the 7 and the x. So this would be x to the negative 12th power. We don't like negative exponents in our answer, so what can I do? Put it to the bottom. What's going to go to the bottom? all of it. So 7 squared and x to the 12th power. What stays on top? 1. And then lastly, what's 7 squared? 49. So 49x to the 12th. 1 over 49x to the 12th power. 22. What should I do first? Simplify the numbers.
Yeah.
What's 36 divided by 9? 4. What can I do next? Subtract the x's. So top minus bottom. 7 minus 2 would be what? 5. Perfect. And we subtract the y's. So 11 minus 7 would be y to the 4th power. Awesome. Sure. Okay, let's look at 23. Simplify. How can I simplify here? So 10 minus 7 would be x to the 3rd power. Where does the 5 go? Just in front. Any questions here? Any questions from this page? All right, next one. 24, simplify. What can I do to simplify? Distribute. So we want to distribute that squared to the top and the bottom. So x to the 3rd power squared over 2 squared. What can I do next? Multiply. So our power to a power, we're going to multiply. So that'll give us x to the 6th power. And then what's 2 squared? Awesome, 4. So x to the 6th power over 4. All right, 25. What should I do first? Distribute, so that -1 exponent gets distributed to the x and the y. So x to the power of -2 to the power of -1. And y to the power of 4 to the power of -1. What can I do next? So power to a power means we multiply. So it would be x squared over y to the power of -4. We don't like negative exponents in our answer, so what do I need to do? Bring it to the top and make it positive. So x squared y to the 4th power. Any questions here? Question? All right, 26. What should I do first? What does the -2 get distributed to? Everything. So it gets distributed to the x on top, the y on top, the x on the bottom, and the y on the bottom. So this will be x to the power of -2, y to the power of 6 to the power of -2, x to the power of 6 to the power of -2, and y to the power of -2. What can I do next? Multiply the exponents. So I have x to the power of -2, y to the power of -12, x to the power of -12, and y to the power of -2. What can I do next? I can subtract, that works. So I want to combine my x's, so it'll be -2 minus -12. So what happens when you subtract a negative? Becomes plus. So what's -2 plus 12? 10. So this would be x to the 10th power. And we do the same thing with the y's. So this would be -12 minus -2. So what's negative 12 plus 2? Positive 10 or negative 10? Negative 10. So it'd be y to the power of negative 10. But we don't like negative exponents in our answer, so what do I have to do? Bring the y to the bottom. So x to the 10th power over y to the 10th power. What should I do first for 27? Distribute. So the negative 2 gets distributed to everything. The 12, the x, the y, the z, the 3, the x, the y, the z. So I have 12 to the power of negative 2, x to the power of negative 3 to the power of negative 2, y to the power of negative 2 to the power of negative 2, and z to the power of 3 to the power of negative 2. And that's just on top. We need to distribute the negative 2 to everything on the bottom too. So 3 to the power of negative 2, x to the power of negative 2, y to the power of negative 2 to the power of negative 2, and z to the power of negative 3 to the power of negative 2. What can I do next? I can multiply, so multiply my exponents. So that stays 12 to the power of negative 2, x to the power of 6, y to the power of 4, z to the power of negative 6, over 3 to the power of negative 2, x to the power of negative 2, y to the power of 4, and z to the power of 6. What can I do next? Flip the ones that are negative. We can do that. So 12 is going to go to the bottom. The z to the 6th power is going to go to the bottom. 3 to the second power is going to go to the top. And x to the second power is going to go to the top. So I have 12 squared on the bottom. Y to the 4th power and z to the 6th power and z to the 6th power on the bottom. And then 3 squared moves to the top. X squared moves to the top. And then x to the 6th power, y to the 4th power stays at the top. What can I do next? Since I have two x's that are both on the top, I can add the exponents there. And the two z's on the bottom, I can add the exponents there. So this would be x to the 8th power, y to the 4th power over 12 squared, y to the 4th power, z to the 12th power.
Numbers.
I can simplify the numbers. How can I simplify the numbers? So I have 9 over 144. Perfect. 9 goes into 1 over 44 16 times. So that would be 1 over 16. So I have x to the 8th power, y to the 4th power, over 16, y to the 4th power, z to the 12th power. Am I done yet? No. I still have y's. So how do I simplify the y's? Subtract. So 4 minus 4. What's 4 minus 4? 0. What is y to the power of 0? 1. So it disappears. It just becomes 1. So I have x to the 8th power over 16 z to the 12th power. So it's not y to the 1st power. It was y to the 0 power, which now the y became 1. So you could put a 1 there, but you don't need the 1 there. The y just went away. All right, let's take a look at 28. How can I simplify this first? What should I do? So I'm going to start with the left side and do what to the exponents? distribute. So I'm going to distribute the cube to everything in front of it. So I have 3 cubed, x to the 4th power cubed, y cubed, and then times 2y to the 6th power. What can I do next? Multiply the exponents. And what's 3 to the 3rd power? 27. So 27x to the 12th power, y to the 9th power times 2y to the 6th power. Add the exponents for the y's. So that would be y to the 15th power. What else can I do? What do I do with the 27 and the 2? Multiply them. So what's 27 times 2? 54. So that's the left side. Now let's do the right side. What should I do first on the right side? Distribute. So I have x squared to the 3rd power, y to the 4th power to the 3rd power, x squared to the 3rd power, and y to the power of 0 to the 3rd power. What can I do next? Multiply the exponents. So x to the 6th power, y to the 12th power, x to the 6th power, y. What's 0 times 3? 0. What is y to the power of 0? 1. So we can get rid of that. What can I do next? Add the x's. So that'll be x to the 12th power and y to the 12th power. Can I subtract these together? Are my exponents the same for each variable? No, so we cannot subtract. So since these two are different, they are different, we can't subtract or can't combine. So this would be our final answer. The exponents with the variables have to be the same in order to subtract the coefficients, and then you leave the variable part the same.
So we just leave it like that, we have to put different, can't combine.
No, you can just leave it like that. As long as you know that you just can't subtract them. What should I do first for 29? Distribute. So 3 squared a to the 4th power squared b to the 3rd power squared times 2ab to the 6th power. So I'm just looking at the left side for now. So 3 squared is 9. What is a to the 4th power squared? What do I do to the exponents? Multiply. So a to the 8th power. Same thing with the b. I multiply the exponents. When you have a power to a power, you multiply. So times 2 times a times b to the 6th power. What else can I do? So 9 times 2 would be 18. How can I combine the a's? Add the exponents. What's the exponent on that second a there? 1. So 8 plus 1 would be 9. And then what do I do with the b's? Add the exponent, so it would be b to the 12th power. So that's as much as we can simplify the left side. Now let's look at the right side. What should I do first? Distribute. So this would be a squared to the 3rd power, b to the 4th power to the 3rd power, negative a cubed b to the power of 0. What can I do next? Multiply the exponents. When we have a power to a power, we multiply. So a to the 6th power, b to the 12th power, times negative, we'll call it -1, because that's our coefficient in front of the a, would be -1, a cubed b to the power of 0. What can I do next? Combine the a's. How do I combine the a's? Add the exponent, so a to the 9th power. How can I combine the b's? It's just 12. The b to the power of 0 goes away. So b to the 12th power. And our coefficient in front is -1. This is -1, a to the 9th power, b to the 12th power. Can I add these together? Yes. My variable part's the same. I have a to the 9th power, b to the 12th power. How do I add them together? Add the coefficients. So that would be 18 plus -1, which is the same thing as saying 18 minus 1. So it's 18 minus 1? 17. And then what would the variable part in my answer be?
The same.
The same. A to the 9th power, b to the 12th power. So it stays the same. To the power of 0. What should I do first? It's 1. Yep. So since everything has that exponent of 0, the whole thing is 1.